Yo, what's up, KenDeep here? At it again with another video. This time I want to review my own match from the Red Bull Kumite against Alioune. That's right. The reason why I want to review my own match is first of all to maybe shed a little bit of light of why I went for certain decisions, but also because I have a new video upcoming maybe in a week or two concerning how to review your own matches. And because of that, I want to kind of ease into that topic and maybe also show a little bit of how I usually go about reviewing my own matches. So, with that being said, I would like to go into the match. So, I'm the blue Eno, and I'm playing against Alioune, who is a well known player. And let's get to it.
KenDeep is gonna be Eno versus Emilia. Let's take notes.
Alright, so here right now I'm so here this part right there is actually something that a lot of people have commented over, that I bursted poorly. I wouldn't agree that burst was poor. It was just bad executed, because what I wanted to do at the end was I wanted to so my initial intention was to gold burst in order to get a lot of meter. But also I was really close to the left side of the wall, and I knew he was going to cross me up, and I thought he was going to go for a crouching kick. So I wanted to catch that crouching kick with a gold burst in order to corner him closer into the corner, and then kind of get my own positive situation with a lot of meter and of course that good screen positioning. So I don't really agree to a lot of people commenting this as a bad burst, but yeah, that's just my take on that. So here a good punish into haircar, not really that dangerous of a pressure, but I backdashed either way. Good 6p on his part. So here the corner pressure. I jumped out, or I tried to jump out with a jump heavy there, because his pressure at that point had ended, which means so there were a couple of things that he could have gone for, but it was very delayed, so I felt comfortable trying to jump out. So even a hair car I think would not have hit me at that point, and a bad moon I would have blocked through air block, so that was fine as well. So at that point, there was a good reason for me to trying to jump out of that, and then jump heavy in case he tried to re-dash into it. No, the pressure. There I tried the stroke the big tree under the projectile. I think a lot of people will realize what that's about later in the set, so I won't dwell on that too much. But here the Oki. So here I tried to block, I tried to interrupt. But yeah, this was a little bit. Honestly, this match was just very stiff. I didn't execute a lot of things well, and he was able to gain a lot of momentum. And that stroke into the 6p was something that he will exploit quite a bit later on. It's a pattern of mine that I've used because it worked quite well in the past. But yeah, here you can see he's trying to counterplay my stroke, and then with the cross up, that's just... So here in that part, I gladly take that hit. So I held back, and I did that even thinking he's going to cross me up. The reason why I did that is because in the end, him crossing himself into the corner is a win for me. So even if I take a little bit of life for that exchange, that's fine for me. And in the end, you can see I get bad moon, but it's like whatever. I'm back to neutral. You're in the corner. Like what do I care, right? There. And now 6p hit, and my whole pressure, my whole momentum is going back. So in that regard, that conscious decision of blocking to the left side was better in the risk-reward scenario than trying to block the cross-up on reaction, which is possible, but just not worth it. Because I also had like 50% health, he didn't have any meter, so he couldn't kill me, and etc, etc. So now my pressure starts, and I backdash, I dive because I had the advantage, so I was higher, which is good for Eno. Being higher is in general a good thing for Eno because her dives become much more threatening that way. So there you can see I saw he was trying to air dash. It was a little bit more preemptive. It's not a reaction dive, but still it was very unlikely for Alioune in that scenario to try to jump over me, especially with how Eno's movement works. So yeah, that's why I went for the dive there. And now the pressure starts. Lots of strokes. Try to air grab, but good tech on his side. So on that part, the reason why I always try to go for a sweep there is because the stagger is actually not big enough for a different kind of combo. So I can't reliably dash or redash into there. And if I try to go for a 5k or 2k, there's nothing else that can really connect afterwards that puts me in a good spot. That's why I usually try to go for a direct sweep. But he was too far away for that, which is something that I need to be a little bit more aware of when I practice this game a little bit more. So, for example, this is a part where I say, okay, I have to lap this. I have to see in what distances, in what situations is sweep a viable convert, and in what other scenarios might I need to go for something different. For example, a 6p into Chemical Love, for example.
See the purple Roman cancel to try and go and
so now a lot of scrambles again. Good jump out there from his side. I'm being a little bit too predictable with my strokes. Now this burst is actually showing exactly what I meant earlier. So I actually purposefully waited a little bit with the burst because I could have also just bursted right now. But you could see there was a slight delay between the Roman cancel being finished and my burst coming up. That was deliberate. The reason why I did that was, again, because I was knowing he wanted to dash under me, and that way I was able to also make sure that he actually got bursted, or the burst actually is hitting him, so to speak. Because of that, I could also make sure that, because he had to deliberately bait my burst with FD, because only going to one side while running won't help him OSing the burst bait, because, so to speak, there is run recovery in this game, so he will always get a hit no matter what, unless he specifically FDs. He doesn't FD, so he didn't try to bait the burst. That way I gain the momentum, and now I can actually really run havoc. There I did a little bit of an execution error, but that wasn't that big of a deal in the long run. It only happened once. I was a little bit too slow on the 2K. You can see there is a slight delay there. I misjudged my landing timing, and that's why I went for that pressure and it got blocked. But it's not a big issue. I still have my corner, and I regain my corner with the air throw. And now I try to go for the fuzzy. You will see that later. And there you can see the sweep. That's exactly why I go for the sweep. I can go into note, and that way I can push Alioune closer to the corner, which is a good situation for me. And now again into the sweep. There I committed into the dive, or into the jump D reset, the double overhead. Now the thing here is I could have tried to contest him with another dive, but I chose to not to, because I know that Alioune was aware of contesting that specific scenario with a 5p. Now if I'm too low, it won't be able to punish me, but he can contest me with a 5p, which I have to block. If I'm a little bit higher than I am right now, 5p won't hit me, and then it's not that much of an issue. But right now I was a little bit too wary of his 5p attempts. I could have gone for a delayed jump in, but that way he was able to capitalize on this scenario and get me in the landing recovery, which happens in the game, which I don't like. See, it was a punish. You could see it says punish there. So that means he hit me in the recovery frames. Really a nice awareness of him on that point. So I need to be a little bit more aggressive with my air actions, and really make him be a little bit more scared of trying to punish me at that point.
There we go, great defense.
And now the disc Oki, I try to block high. I just read wrong, that's all there is. And there again, this time the same thing that I mentioned about him punishing my jump in due to landing recovery frames, I did the same. I saw he did an air action, so I basically did a, so to speak, a fuzzy 5k. I waited a little bit for him to land, and because essentially, if he had pressed a jump in, I would have been able to block that because I timed my normal in a way where either his normal gets cancelled by the landing, or he just lands right out the gate. If he had pressed a normal before where it would have hit me, I would have blocked that due to that timing. So that was actually also very important.
2D into this.
And yeah, that's the first round that I won. And now we go to the second round.
Yeah, let's see that.
And
Again, it's
6P, because 6P is a really, really good
counter,
neutral
another
option.
one, Alioune
There I
trying
tried
to
to
go
air dash
for
cancel
the
for
time.
some reason.
The big tree.
I'm not sure exactly why. Yeah, I was a little bit more patient
is
there.
the
I
heavy
tried to, with that Tiger Knee
So annoying.
dive, I tried to catch a jump out, but Alioune jumped a little bit earlier than I anticipated, so I whiffed, but he didn't punish, so it's not that big of a deal. There I established throw, and a lot of people were like, man, he mashing throw. Mashing throw is super important, and I will tell you why. It forces your opponent to clean up their meaties. But by cleaning up their meaties, they commit to things. So that way, I kind of force a certain play style to Alioune, and it works in my favor. I realize that he's not really doing a proper meaty setup, and I abuse that fact, and that's why I regain my momentum. And with a big life lead. So there again, he tries to jump out. And here you can see the combo. It's just, I got the combo down essentially. I chose for the super. I wasn't sure if it was gonna kill, but in my opinion, you should always opt for the super wall break in this game if you have the meter. It just means you have prolonged pressure situation. You're in a good situation, especially Eno and Giovanna. I think they are big winners of that feature or of that mechanic because they have really strong setups from a super wall break due to the knockdown. So now you can see I tried to poke a little bit more with 2S into stroke. That's essentially a auto. There I tried to gold burst. I was a little bit greedy, not gonna lie, but that gold burst was, I made it because I think gold bursts are more important in this game than in previous Guilty Gears. If you play Dengeki, I think you kind of have a feel of how much sense gold bursting makes in this game because it's quite close to the level 2 bursts in Dengeki Fighting Climax. So there I tried to gold burst as a reaction to his gold burst because he has a lot of meter now and I want some meter too. And I saw him dash forward. He double jumped. I don't know if he did that deliberately, but it baited my gold burst all the way. So I kind of wasted my burst, which is not too bad because you regain burst quite fast in this game, so it's not that bad. I blocked the cross up. He was a little bit too obvious with that on that part. And yeah, I mean, what can I say? It's after that, it's quite normal. There I poked again because I know he was trying to go for a delayed normal. There again. So this time around, and it's important to differentiate this situation with the previous one where I didn't block the cross-up while I was in the corner. So here I opted to go for blocking same side again. But this time, he established that he can regain the corner and also actually get a good combo out of that side switch hit, which is a very important differentiator for the rest of the set. So now he kind of forced me to be a little bit more wary in defense. He wall breaks with super, with 100% meter, that just makes sense. I jump out with a fuzzy jump, and now I use a lot of meter. So there are a couple of people that have noted that I could have gotten a different combo here. So here, what people usually go for is jump D, land, close S, and then again jump D into the horizontal dive. The reason why I don't go for that, and I do that for a reason, is because it's inconsistent. It's character specific. I think it does work against Milia, but I've played against a ton of different characters, and I chose to prioritize consistency over efficiency. So in that regard, I just went for the combo that I know works. And that I know will lead to a good position in the long run. It's not a perfect situation for sure, but at least it's not a dropped combo. and I do get the corner carry, which is very important. So, for example, against Anji, the combo that a lot of people think about with the jump D, land, close S, and then jump D again won't work. That's why I went for close S into jump D, and then the dive was a little bit, was kind of redundant. That wasn't really necessary. It just wasted my time to set up things. I should have gotten for note, I think, but let me see. Yeah, I should have gotten for Note. Note would have been a better choice there. It would have been given me a better situation. Probably a Note that would essentially get me from here to here. So have the Note go in that trajectory. I think that would have been a good choice probably.
As well.
So now I go for 2S into stroke again, he gold yellow RCs, and now here you can see my stroke going under the projectiles, and now I sweep again for the pressure, yeah, old stuff, and now I throw again because I know his pressure isn't clean, so I abuse that fact. It's important to exploit your opponent's weaknesses, always. Doesn't matter if they're Daigo or random Rio player from the block. Again, throw, this time a back throw, so I get the corner position, very important, and now I get the combo. I'm very consistent at that point. So here for people that have seen my wall break video, they will know that I have a pretty good feeling about when the wall break happens or when the wall split happens, and this is a testament to that. So normally, you would do a hop into jump S dive. Here I hopped and then I quit immediately and then went into 5D. That's the most optimal route you can do when you don't have super, because 5D does the most damage. I didn't go for a charge one because I didn't know if I had enough time. That's something I would probably lap in the long run, but it's not significant enough where I would risk getting the drop versus just getting the wall break, because now I also have access to more meter for the rest of... See, I already have 50% meter now. It's insane. And now I get the pressure. He's forced to burst, which is fine for me, because it's he's already down 1 health or 1 life. And now I just waste all that meter. I just waste all that meter because I don't care. I don't care about the having any super, because in the first place, I still have negative. I still have positive, right? Positive bonus. So I get a lot of meter anyway. So even if that wouldn't have killed, I had the corner position. I had the positive bonus, and it would be pretty much a guaranteed win for me anyhow. And I still had burst. So there was no reason for me to hold back on the super bar, and I think that I just made the right decision. So now we go to the next match where I will finally lose. So here again I block wrongly. It happens, it's Million. Her mix-up is pretty difficult to block. So here in that part, right? For me that is a big win. So I mean, I might be at 50% health, but I go and I analyze this match, and I was like, for me, this is not a bad position. Because we're back to neutral, which is good for Ino. I think Ino has pretty good neutral. And I still have burst, so I can revert the momentum if I'm just playing smartly, which I don't. So for example, here, I think the 6P, the 6P was a good choice, right? But it was just a little bit too late. You can see I already did the 6P while she was landing, so it was a bad decision from my part. He could have punished that much more, but yeah, it was just the 6P wasn't executed well. There I blocked the bad moon, but that doesn't really do me much. I think at this point I might have rather just eaten the bad moon, because it would have forced... I mean, at the same time, I don't know, he was forced to use the meter, he didn't get a big conversion out of that, it's fine, I guess. But yeah, now I just get the... So here, the hover dash PP is actually really, really good. The reason why that's really good is because of the spacing. So you can see I did the sweep, and then we both go back to neutral, and there are multiple options that I can go for now. I could either try to be a little bit more passive, which is something I do a lot in this set. After a sweep, I tend to go back a little bit more. But in this specific instance, I chose to hover dash, because I also realized that Alioune was trying to you know, create distance between us a lot of the time. And to get into a space where he can be a little bit more threatening with his cross-up air dashes.
Yes. He's gonna
I realized that, and then I went for a hover dash 5 PP. Now, the reason why that's actually important is because even if he had blocked that, with the next hover dash, I had enough meter, as you can see here, for the mix-up. And that was what I was going for. Getting a jump 5 PP or a hover dash 5 PP, either blocked or hit, doesn't really matter as a Ino player. It just means you will get the same setup situations anyway.
into 2D.
Which I do. I go for the overhead. Unfortunately, he didn't block the first one. I don't know what exactly he was thinking there. Maybe he was trying to guess that I was gonna go low, and he tried to interrupt me, which I have to lab if that's even possible. Might be, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I went for the normal fuzzy setup, and then went for the okay. He had to burst there. So here I tried to hover dash P again, I think.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I tried, but I was a little bit too low. So this time Alioune was in the better spacing. I think in the future I might want to be a little bit more aware of the jump arcs. And might try to maybe incorporate a little bit more jump D into that scenario, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe also Chemical Love might work there.
Oh my
I'm not
goodness.
sure, but yeah, my jump D whiffed. So now I blocked the low, and now he's gonna cross up. That was quite obvious. And now I blocked all that stuff. There I tried to. So in that part I have to be more aware. So I think I blocked this same side, and it was cross-up protection that helped me block that. However, because of the push block, and because I was aware that he hit me from behind, I was thinking he was gonna cross me up. But I have to keep in mind that the push block actually pushes me to the other side again, which is what actually made me get that hit. Now that hit didn't lead to anything, but still I have to be aware of this for future matches.
Oh my goodness, the pressure right now, Alioune sense
yeah. Fortunately, it didn't lead to anything, but the badman then catched me off guard. I think I tried to jump there, and he caught me in the jump startup frames, but I'm not sure.
Alioun's like, hey, you remember who I am? You're fighting
So now, trying to dive a little bit more, trying to be a little bit more aggressive, because I was very passive in the previous round. Now he throws me. The throws are actually quite threatening in this game.
Oh, he missed his 2K, I think.
And now again 6P, that was actually a punish, so I assume I hit him in the landing recovery. Let me see.
Oh, he missed his 2K, I think.
Yes, that was the landing recovery, so that was actually quite important there. Now, momentum burst. I didn't expect any big reward from that from Alioune at that point, but I just wanted to have the momentum because he had the life lead. I only had 50% health, so for me it was important to burst at that point rather than later, because then that would also mean I had burst ready for the next round should I win this round. So it was actually very important to burst at that very specific point. And also now Alioune is closer to the corner, I can do nodes, and yeah, I convert into that, into something that leads into Oki. This is something I have to level a little bit more. What do I get? What kind of situation do I get from that kind of conversion? Because my here you can see my timing is completely off. My hover dash S completely whiffed. There is no meaty, there is no safe jump, there is no Oki, there's no mix-up. It was a mess. Now, still granted, the situation is still very good for me. There I tried to reverse Megalovania, but that doesn't actually work, so I have to stop doing that. But he could have punched that as well. So here I also have to be more aware of when to cancel. I'm still not really getting used to the timings very well, but essentially what you can do is you can you have to be adaptive to the timing when your third hit works for the horizontal dive.
Oh my goodness!
The combo
again.
Yeah, nothing big. I did the charge there in order to get more damage. Nothing big.
Here we go. Third game. Who's going to take the third match?
So that was actually spontaneous. I didn't realize that was a thing, that I could hit the dive meaty and then by that be plus. But I kind of realized hey, I land sooner than Milia, so I should be advantageous in that situation, which I abused. And it hit her, so that was pretty good.
And that's the classic with Ino, right?
There, delay jump D, I messed up the combo though. So I was a little bit confused from the timing there, because I did delay the jump D so much that the height of Milia was quite different than what I'm used to. So usually what you should do is jump 5, jump PP, land 6H, and then into H stroke. That's usually what you should do. But in this part, I think you should have done jump P, and delayed jump P, land 6H, and then horizontal chemical love. I think that would have been more optimal.
Yep.
And you
But either way, now I'm on Oki. I guess right again.
Good
Good gold burst, very important gold burst there on his part. I think gold bursts are really important in this game.
She gets that conversion
cross
into a
up,
mix, and
nothing
that's when she
big.
gets carried.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
So
But as long as
what
she
hit
gets
me
the
there
down
was
kick, she gets
twice
that
jump attempts. I tried to jump twice, and
Version.
he just hit me when I tried to. No, actually, no, that's not true. I tried to block a bad moon on gas,
into a
which
mix.
made me go standing. But because of the block stun, I'm still crouching, so he hit me low with
That's when she
that
gets
normal
carried.
Yeah.
twice in a row.
Go Alioune right now. Goes straight into the
And now
super.
here I'm being so that way I already saw that he was probably trying to cross me up,
Goes straight into the super.
and I thought there was no harm in trying to walk left, because either I block the disc, or you can see I immediately go into a crouch block. So I was like, either I block the cross up, or I walk out of the corner and then can block any other attempt. So for me, that's exactly what happened.
Misplaced it.
I interrupted there. I saw that he was a little bit too high.
He tried
Grab
the
attempt,
anti-jump. So
nothing
this,
big.
for those who don't know, that's
Can
a command
happen.
grab,
Was a little
guys,
bit
right? So
too
if you have
free,
not
I
jumped
guess.
before the flash,
And here I should have been a little bit
he
more
tried
careful,
the
because I
anti-jump.
was in
So
the corner,
this,
so it
for those who
wasn't a
don't know,
good
that's a command grab, guys, right? So
situation for me anyhow. I should have just blocked. He had a lot of meter, so there was no reason for me to try to take the initiative. He was too far away for me to try to throw him. And he had a lot of meter, and he had meter which
not
killed
just
me,
before the
obviously.
flash. You get
And even
to
if it
it's a
hadn't
common
killed,
thing with
would have
Ino
gotten
to just
super
go for
wall
a
break,
dash
which meant
into,
that I
like,
would have gotten
anti-jump, and you go for the
into a
command grab,
big,
and
big,
you
big
scoop some
momentum
people up,
loss.
you know, that's
So
what you try to do.
that's something I have to keep in mind for future matches, to be more wary of my resources, but also of my momentum. So I think this set now is getting a little bit more hectic in my favor. So here it's a counter, so I think that was a punish to the throw.
Just
conversion, nothing big.
The pressure after, and then it's just boom.
There I supered again just for the wall break, and any hit would kill now, which is a throw, because I know that Alioune,
So there is something.
he tried to mash a lot in the previous times, and because of that I was trying to think, okay, maybe I conditioned him to block a little bit more, which was the right
interesting
call.
about Ino is, the fact that her dash like goes up. Doing dashing and throw is quite good, because sometimes
So
it
there I
will
should
just
have
go
gone for a
over
jump
low,
P, but
a down K,
I wasn't aware that he
and
was
just
going
get
to
the
try
throw.
to
So you
jump,
make the
so
low
that
button
was
with
fine.
into a throw. It's quite scary.
6P could have worked there, but it was quite difficult to react.
characters that
So here, that's exactly what I mean with trying to catch the
Into a
the
throw,
jump
it's
attempts with the horizontal dive.
Yeah.
My goal isn't necessarily to get them to hit, but if they're air block, that's great for me. You can see there's nothing he can do. He can't 5P afterwards. He can't really mash. He can't throw because I'm in the air, right? So he has to respect my pressure while he is closing into the corner. So this is really, really good for me. Now, he does get the hit, so he does get out of the corner, but I still do the momentum burst. I am up one match, so that's totally fine. I'm at 50% health, so even if I lose this match now, I will get burst back for the next match. So
I feel like she might be stronger
that's the
before.
reason I went for this.
Was saying he does not
For the
believe
burst
in
there.
Milia anymore.
I messed up the combo there, so that's something that I definitely have to lap a little bit more. So you can see I made the right call with the stroke to go under the disc, because the disc is something that Alioune used to do a lot for neutral sequences, and I called that out, which is a big risk, but especially because Alioune has done quite a lot of punishes against my stroke, but I was still very confident that that's going to work there. But I did mess up the conversion afterwards. I should have just gone for something like 5k into jump cancel, into horizontal dive,
One of the
stuff.
players was saying he does not believe
Now
in
I'm in a
Milia
bad
anymore,
position there.
so after this one,
Very good
really
overhead.
trying to do well.
But the good thing is here, this is not a scary situation for me yet. I mean, the situation itself is scary, but I'm still, I could have afforded a mistake, so that was fine. Because he had to use the meter for the conversion, which means he loses a lot of damage. And most importantly, he loses the ability to super wall break. So even if he wall breaks now, that's good for me because I do have meter. And if he doesn't wall break, I can just do defensive wire C. So that's totally fine. He doesn't get a wall break, so that's good for him. Actually, I try to defend more. I'm being a little bit wary of his Batman, but I still block low. It's not too shabby. So there I try to Afro attempt, nothing too big. He didn't respect my plus frames there. Yes, H stroke is plus. So there. There I did prioritize the Oki over damage. I think I could have gotten for more, but it was important for me that the horrid knockdown was taking place. That's why I went into a route for H stroke. So now I go into the Oki, he bursts because one more hit and he will die, which stays true. So the burst from his part was actually very, very smart. But unfortunately the hair curl there it's something that I was aware that a lot of Milias will try to do in neutral from time to time, especially from mid-range, which is a good tool, by the way. It's very, it can catch people off guard, similar to G from Street Fighter V with the low dash punch. But I was aware of it, and unfortunately for him, because Ino has a hover dash instead of a normal dash, she has the perfect answer to her car. Especially if she has meter. So I abused that. I kind of thought of this answer up on the fly, but it worked out, and yeah, nothing to it. So now let's go to the second to last match. So I think here I started to get a little bit sloppy, but I'm not sure.
Can actually do a second air dash after that.
Yeah, so here I backdash because there were a couple of disc situations where my stroke didn't get out in time and I would get hit by the stroke. And here you can see I mix up a little bit of, so here H stroke gets hit. Now don't get me wrong, this is not intentional. But I do mix up the H stroke and the S stroke. And now I realize the reason why that is actually really good is because now I can make that whiff and I can recover earlier. And then I can try to punish attempts, which I do here with the 6P. Alioune probably thought that I was going to get punished from his jump H because he did it all the time and hit me from my strokes all the time. But most of these times were H strokes, so S stroke actually is a good way to deal with that. And then trying to go with the 6P.
Just to keep it safe, you don't have to always commit to the heavy version.
Now both have meter, it's a okay situation, nothing too big. He doesn't convert into super because he didn't have the reaction to do so. Now, same as earlier explained, I still have one more chance. I just was a little bit too greedy here. I should have. Now this is one point where I say I did a big mistake. There was no reason for me to not spend the block. If he had gotten hit, great, okay, I can convert from that. If he had gotten blocked, okay, great, I can get a mix-up from that. And now, if it whiffed, okay, I stay safe and I don't get punished. But I didn't do that, so that's why I lost that round. So that was a little bit of a blunder from my part. There was no reason for me to not have used the meter at that point, honestly. Now 6P doing a lot of work. So now see, because of that read that I had on his hair car, I can focus on using note a little bit higher up instead of low, which is really useful because it limits her mobility a lot. Now she gets a knockdown. I attempted to block the high, the same side high, which didn't work.
I guess he was expecting a cross-up.
But yeah, very careful neutral from both sides. Now I get in, I just get in once. Double overhead, I didn't. The reason why I go for double overhead is, no, I don't think it's possible to hit confirm the first jump K if you're already committed to doing the double overhead. I don't think it's possible. It was possible in Exert, but I don't think it's possible here. So in that way, if you get the jump K to hit, it's more of an added bonus. What's important is how does the opponent react to the jump D.
Back off too much.
So I always have to ignore the jump K, so to speak, because the jump K is more of a setup thing, more than a pressure or a hit thing. And we both have meter. And now I finally get the Megalovania. It was a little bit risky. I don't know if I want to go for that as often as I did for this set. But at the same time, this was an exhibition match. I wanted to make this hype, so I tried to land it as well. Yeah, so more strokes. I'm doing way too many strokes. Stroke is a really good tool, don't get me wrong, but I'm doing way too many of them. They're getting way too predictable.
Slash for the follow-up. Keeps it simple this time.
So yeah, backdash. I think I should have just 6P'd there raw instead of going for a backdash first. I think that would have hit probably. I have to be more aware of that specific scenario where Alioune... Yeah, so see, I'm so aware of his bad move that I'm okay with preemptively blocking that. It's... Okay, history lesson. I'm one of the guys who said that Bad Moon was reactable in Exort. I still stay behind that, but I wouldn't go out on a limb to say it. In this game, I don't think it's very, very feasible to react block it. I think you have to be more preemptive about it. And here I'm just so hyper focused on blocking the Bad Moon that I'm even willing to eat a couple of lows when it means blocking the High Moon, which is actually stupid now that I think about it, because there is Alioune doesn't have any meter, so there is nothing he can really gain from the Bad Moon. The Bad Moon was a bad decision on his part, and trying to block the Bad Moon was even a worse decision from my part, but it just happened to work out. See, so he didn't have meter, so he couldn't have cancelled it, even on hit. Even if he hit it, there would have been no setup from him, because the advantage is just not high enough. And yeah, so, but I blocked it and I punished it, and now he has meter, so I guess it's okay.
Yeah,
but that's the kind of sorry, that's the kind of thing you have to look out for when you're reviewing your own matches. You really have to be aware of, even if things that I did worked out, were they smart or good decisions? And in that aspect, I can say, even if that worked out, no, it wasn't a good decision in the first place. So now I messed up my double overhead there. So okay, here. The reason why I went for the dust into stroke is because that was S stroke in the beginning, right? Here, let me see. That's S stroke. S stroke into 2D is not a combo. So I didn't expect that to be a combo. I guess Alioune didn't mash out soon enough, or he didn't block low, so that's why it's a blue beat. But that's also why I went into H stroke, because I wanted to carry over my pressure into something that makes me plus, which H stroke does. So unfortunately it was a combo which puts me in a worse situation actually, and now I have to kind of deal with that as it comes. And it's a really, really difficult aspect of part of me. So here I tried to gold burst. Again, I mistimed it. Bad execution. I should have waited a little bit with the gold burst, but the idea was to get more meter so I could try to land a very nasty fuzzy and then get a super combo out of that to kill a million. Didn't help. I did a bad stroke again, too obvious with the strokes, so I have to tone that down for the future and release. And yeah, what can I say? Now on to the last part of the set.
Potential 7-game set.
So now I start to play a little bit more with Chemical Love and neutral. I block a little bit more, I backdash, and that's all because... so I don't know if I can get more from that conversion. I could have gotten more, but it's quite difficult to get that from the spur of the moment. So here I messed up the knockdown situation. I should have gotten more. Though it did surprise me that that was a hard knockdown, because S-stroke usually doesn't knock down from an air hit. I have to check that out when a game drops.
End of the day, Damascus, that's all it is. It's just movement. You're not winning like that. You're just moving around the screen.
Again, H-dive to catch a jump,
Right, and Alioune
but
is just looking for
didn't
his
work.
opening right now.
This time, Afro.
So
So this is exactly what I meant with I should have used the meter. I mean, in that specific scenario, it wasn't as important as in the one where I actually lost the match because of it. But here, I had the meter. It was a free Afro. It gained me a lot of momentum and a good situation, good positioning. So there was just no reason to not go
kind of smart, watch out
for,
an integer.
you know. So here I tried to actually burst, bait the burst. So you can see I H-stroke actually preemptively before even the second hit of the 6H hits. And that's because in previous Guilty Gears, with H-stroke, you could bait bursts. So I tried that. I didn't know it wasn't possible. So it kind of screwed me over, but
Yeah, Alioune will realize
I mean, it
that
doesn't
could
really
be the
matter
end of the
anyway.
game right there.
I knew he was
Set
going to
the
burst,
scenario from,
so
spells
even if I
disaster. Here we
didn't
go.
bait it,
Rush
there was
now.
nothing I could have done.
Ooh, Pavlasi goes
Nice
low.
interrupt here
Oh,
from
the
him
burst
from his
from
side.
KenDeep.
I established that as a very
Any
real
kind of offense
option
there.
quite early in the set, so he had to
Even when
kind
Alioune
of
has no
answer
life
that
and KenDeep is
option
successful, like,
in his own
life
way.
lead, he will still use his
I'm
burst.
surprised about that burst, actually. Like, he could have taken at least one or
Alright,
two more
let's see.
mixes.
I'm especially surprised because I had the
6P, yeah, I think this is the round where 6P just screws everything over. Here for the haircut, I have to keep in mind, I was aware that he was gonna haircut, but I still have to figure out what move I should use when I don't have meter. I think probably jump S or jump H is the way to go, or maybe H dive might be smart. I have to be a little bit more experimentative with that.
For like dumb moments, you're like, get it for momentum and stuff.
Oh,
But you know,
really?
I understand
So
that.
again,
That's how
2S,
scary the counter
fair,
is.
2 stroke, nothing big, 6P.
There we
Yeah,
go.
so this is the round where 6P
Fireball
really
out,
is a
this
struggle
Alioune.
again for
Not only
Alioune.
Jake escapes,
He
turns his
gets hit
escape
by so
into a
many
mix.
6Ps.
Like,
So here, nothing big
there we go, like
happens.
this.
So
He turns his
I
escape into a
cannot
mix,
tell
like,
you why I did a
There
bag
we go, like this. Okay.
RC. I mean, it did work,
Pressure. Oh,
but
the grab. and
I don't
here
think
we
there's
go
a
to
good
the
reason to
disc.
go for it. I think
Yeah, goes for the
I
overhead.
just...
Oh no, he misses it.
what
He
happened?
can go there. And that's going to be a bit
Um,
more straight to the yellow. Roman can
Yeah,
it's quite
no,
interesting to
I'm
see
doing
how,
like a
how
couple of
well
more
all of the
6Ps
players are using this
into
as
horizontal
a
chemical love.
defensive tool. Alioune just
One
gonna get
more.
away from the node. Watch out,
And
the
now-
anti-air there by KenDeep.
Yeah, so no, this is not a
Alioune
burst
just gonna
bait.
get away from the node. Watch out, the anti-air.
I would like to take the credit, but no, this is not a burst bait. That was actually the maximum distance that Ino could go for with her hover dash, and I realized that. So in an attempt to kind of make any mashes with from Alioune, because I thought he was also aware of that and that he would try to maybe mash a 5K or something like that in, I jumped back. But when I saw his burst
Alioune just
gauge,
gonna get away from the node. Watch out, the anti-air there by KenDeep.
I was like, okay, he's gonna burst. But I didn't cancel my jump and then jump back because of the burst. I just did the dive because of the burst. So just for you to know, I don't take full credit for the burst bait. It looked sick. I'm glad it happened, but yeah, I can't take full credit of that. So yeah, that about wraps it up for this video. Thanks for tuning in. This is a very, very long video, so I know it's a doozy, but I think this might be interesting to a lot of people who watched that set and were like, oh man, this is cool stuff. This is Guilty Gear. So if you like any more of the content, as said, I will have a video on how you can review your own matches next time. And I also have a couple of other tutorials for how to play fighting games on an intermediate to high level. So if you're interested in that, please check them out in my channel, and see you next time.